Hi, I'm Neil Greenbaum. Today I'm going to talk about how to save a fortune on attorney's fees. Now, I'm an attorney, so I'm a little biased. I like when attorneys make fees. However, I do feel that there are ways to save money, especially when you're paying an hourly fee or any kind of fee based upon time. So when you go to an attorney, now I'm a transactional attorney. That means I'm not a litigator. I don't go to court or sue people or defend people who are being sued. I do transactions, a lot of contracts and people buying and selling commercial real estate or businesses. Now, when people pay me on an hourly fee, I want to make sure that the time that's being spent is effective, and I don't want it to be inefficient. So it's important that if you're entering into a contract or some kind of transaction with somebody and you're paying an attorney hourly, you want to make sure that all the deal points are solidified before the attorneys start drafting, or more importantly, start modifying or editing the other attorney's draft. So for example, I'll tell you a story, and stories are good because we hopefully learn from them. I have a client who I was actually reviewing a contract that had been drafted by the other side, and it was part of a larger transaction. And my client told me he wanted to add A, B, and C to the contract. So I did it, and he reviewed it, and he said now he wants to add D, E, and F. So I did it, and he reviewed it, and then he wanted to add G, H, and I. So I made a whole bunch of revisions for him, and he liked them, and he sent them over to the other side. Then we had a conference call with the other side, and during the phone call, I found out that my client and the other client were not on the same page. Their business terms had not been solidified. They had not worked things out sufficiently. And the lawyers were already working and drafting and redrafting, but if the clients weren't on the same page, it's just a waste of time and therefore a waste of money. So I told the client, listen, I'm not going to draft anything else. Of course, I'm being paid to draft, and it's just more money for me, but I don't want to do any more work that's going to cost you money if we're not gaining anything from it. So what happened is the client worked out those remaining business items with the other side, and then we did the drafts and everything was signed. So it's important that all the material terms of your contract are worked out in advance. For example, compensation. If any money is changing hands, you want to make sure that both parties agree on the money. It should not be something that's subject to negotiation while contracts are being drafted. Also, term. What's a term? How long is the contract for? 1 year, 2 years, 5 years? And also termination. Does the contract last during that 1 year term and the parties can't get out? Or maybe the parties can get out by giving 30 days written notice to the other party. The point is there are all sorts of material terms that are part of the business decision. A lawyer doesn't make business decisions. That's not my job. My job is to take the business decisions made by the parties and to memorialize it in a contract, in a legal binding document. So the parties want to make sure that they have all the material terms worked out before the lawyers start putting pen to paper. Because once that happens and revisions are made that are not part of a deal, are not part of something that's been thought through, and not something that's been agreed to by the parties, it's just going to add time, and time equals money. Anyway, I hope this gave you something to think about, and I hope you found it helpful. Have a great day.